Today's Schumann Resonance report. For the last 36 hours, Earth's energy pulse has gone dark. No data, no waves, just silence. Is this a technical glitch or something more serious? The Schumann resonance, often referred to as the Earth's heartbeat, isn't just a scientific phenomenon. It's a steady, low-frequency electromagnetic vibration that's been pulsing between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere for as long as we've had instruments to measure it. But for many, especially those attuned to subtle energy, it's something more than data. It's a pulse we feel in our bodies, our breath, and in the quiet, sacred spaces of our consciousness. And now, for a day and a half, that pulse has vanished. When the heartbeat of the Earth goes missing, it's not just a chart that flatlines, it's something deeper. It reaches into a collective space within us, tapping into an ancient recognition that we are connected to this living planet, not just physically, but energetically. This silence, it's not just a technical anomaly, it's a spiritual tremor, a cosmic hush that stops us in our tracks and makes us ask, what is happening beneath the surface? In mystical traditions around the world, the Earth isn't just a rock hurtling through space. She's a living being, a consciousness, a guide. And when her song disappears, even for a moment, the sensitive among us know something is shifting, something subtle yet massive is moving in the unseen. Because this isn't just about electromagnetic waves, it's about resonance, coherence, alignment. And when that resonance drops to zero, when the tone goes silent, it creates space, a sacred space, for something new to emerge. And maybe, just maybe, we're standing right at the edge of that emergence now. So as we dive into this mystery together, stay open, stay curious, because the Earth may not be speaking in the way we're used to, but that doesn't mean she's not speaking at all. If this resonates with you, don't forget to comment below with what you've been feeling over the past 36 hours. Have your dreams changed? Have you felt different? We want to hear from you, because this isn't just about one chart. It's about all of us. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This is just the beginning of something deep, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. For over 36 hours now, the Schumann resonance monitoring systems, usually pulsing with rhythmic, consistent electromagnetic data, have gone completely silent. The usual waves, spikes, and signatures that tell us the Earth is still humming along are simply not there. The main chart, hosted by the Russian space observing system that many watch religiously, still displays readings from 2 days ago. No updates, no movement, just a ghostly still frame of what once was. Now, it's easy to lean toward the simplest explanation. Maybe it's just a glitch. Maybe the servers are down. Maybe a satellite failed. Or someone's running updates behind the scenes and forgot to tell us. After all, we've seen technical blackouts before. Systems crash, data lags. Technology isn't perfect. But then again, maybe it's not just a glitch. Because here's the thing. We've seen this kind of silence before. And when we look back at those moments, they often coincide with something more. Something we can't always explain through logic alone. In past years, sudden drops in Schumann data have overlapped with spikes in solar activity, intense solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and geomagnetic storms that seem to ripple not only through our atmosphere, but through human consciousness itself. We've also seen unusual earthquake patterns, emotional surges in collective behavior, and deep, almost dreamlike states among those who are particularly tuned in. So the question begins to stretch beyond what's happening on a server to what might be happening in the unseen layers of reality. Could this be more than a data blackout? Could we be witnessing an energetic recalibration, an Earth-level reset? Some believe that when the Schumann resonance goes silent, the electromagnetic veil that usually separates our three-dimensional perception from higher dimensions temporarily thins, almost like the stage between scenes going dark, just before the lights rise on something entirely new. What if this quiet is the silence before a new energetic symphony begins? Think about it. When you meditate deeply, when you go into that space between thoughts, there's a pause, a gap, and in that pause, there's power, possibility, realignment. Could Earth itself be in that pause now? Could we, in some strange and beautiful way, be entering into a global breath hold, one that allows new frequencies to anchor into the planetary grid? Some metaphysical thinkers suggest that the Schumann resonance doesn't just reflect Earth's vibration, it mirrors collective human consciousness. It's a two-way dialogue. And if that's true, then maybe this stillness isn't just about Earth. Maybe it's about us. Maybe the field has quieted because we are at a threshold, one foot in the old world, and one about to step into something entirely unfamiliar. It's not about panic, it's about presence, curiosity, wonder, because if the Earth is in the midst of a transformation, subtle, unseen, yet deeply felt, then our role is not to fear it, but to feel it, to attune ourselves to the shift, to become aware of how these larger cycles might be mirrored in our own lives, our emotions, our thoughts, our dreams. This moment may be more than data silence. It may be a cosmic breath, a dimensional doorway nudging open, a still point in the great turning wheel of existence. The mystery remains, but in that mystery, we are being offered something rare, an invitation to listen deeper than ever before. While we've been sitting in the mystery of this Schumann resonance silence, something else has been rumbling beneath the surface, quite literally. A powerful earthquake recently struck deep within the lands of Russia, sending shockwaves not just through the Earth's crust, but through the energetic field that wraps around us all. And it wasn't just a single event. Aftershocks followed in quick succession, sharp, relentless, like echoes of something that needed to be heard. This region of the planet, often associated with ancient landmasses and powerful ley lines, now becomes a focal point. Is it coincidence that the very country hosting the primary source of our Schumann data is also the same land where the Earth just cracked open? Maybe. Or maybe once again, the timing is far too aligned to dismiss. In the language of Earth, earthquakes are more than geological incidents. They are messages, releases, expressions of stored pressure that can no longer be contained. They are sighs from the deep, groans from the core. And when Mother Earth groans like this, it isn't just rock and magma that move. It's energy, vibration, frequency. Something gets stirred on a level most of us don't even have words for. When you think about the Schumann resonance as Earth's heartbeat, and then imagine the literal body of the Earth shifting, cracking, and realigning beneath our feet, it becomes impossible not to wonder. Are these physical upheavals linked to the energetic silence? Could the tremors in the land be disrupting the electromagnetic field? Or is it the other way around? Science and spirit may seem like strange bedfellows, but the more we learn, the more inseparable they become. We know that earthquakes can affect the ionosphere. We know that geomagnetic activity can alter everything from animal migration to human mood. So if Earth is undergoing a massive energetic reset, if her fields are recalibrating, then seismic activity might just be one of the ways that process manifests. It's not just the Earth moving, it's the Earth feeling, releasing, transforming. And as she moves, So do we. Many sensitive souls around the world have reported intense dreams, unusual anxiety, waves of exhaustion that hit without warning. Others have felt surges of creativity or the strange sensation of not being entirely here, as if reality itself is softening at the edges. What happens when Mother Earth groans from her depths? Do we not feel it in our bones, in our breath, in the rhythm of our days and nights? There's a reason so many indigenous traditions teach that we are not separate from the Earth. We are the Earth. We are her thoughts, her emotions, her cells, her stories. So when she releases energy through earthquakes or goes silent in her electromagnetic pulse, that shift moves through us too. The soil beneath our feet is speaking, and somewhere inside, a deeper part of us recognizes the language. And then there's the intuitive pull, that strange, unnameable sensation that something is different now, not just globally, but within. I've asked the question over and over again, is this a timeline jump? And each time, the answer comes back softly, but clearly, no. And yet, it doesn't feel the same. The vibration has changed. The frequency of this now moment feels unfamiliar, as if a new layer has slipped into place quietly while we weren't looking. It's not that we've jumped timelines, but maybe we've crossed a threshold, like stepping from one room into another, not through a door we can see, but through a feeling, a shift in atmosphere, a subtle awareness that the song has changed, even if the melody still lingers. There's something sacred in this moment of collective uncertainty, something ancient and alive moving through the silence. And perhaps that's what we're being called to recognize, not the drama of what's missing, but the depth of what's emerging. The earth is speaking, not in words, but in waves and quakes, in silence and vibration. And all we have to do is listen. Maybe we've been looking at this the wrong way. We live in a world that runs on data, feeds, graphs, metrics, constant feedback loops telling us how everything is functioning. And when that flow stops, even for a moment, it can spark anxiety. We're so used to being in the loop, monitoring the rhythms, watching the spikes and dips of Earth's energetic fields like lifelines on a hospital screen. So when the Schumann Resonance suddenly flatlines, no pulse, no signal, it can feel unsettling, alarming even. But what if this blackout isn't a warning, but an invitation? What if, instead of reacting with fear or frustration, we could lean into a more ancient, more sacred way of listening? In many mystical traditions across time and culture, silence isn't absence, it's presence. It's not emptiness, it's fullness beyond the reach of sound. Silence is where the divine speaks. It's the space between the notes that makes the music possible. It's the pause between breaths, the still point in the turning world. Maybe this blackout is Earth's way of inviting us into that stillness. Maybe she's not malfunctioning. Maybe she's meditating. There's a profound wisdom in the pause. It asks us to stop chasing answers and start feeling the questions. It challenges us to turn inward, to listen without our ears, to sense without relying on charts and updates. Because real resonance doesn't begin on a screen. It begins in the soul. So I ask you, how have you been feeling over the past 36 hours? Not what you've read, not what the apps are saying, but what you are experiencing in your body, in your breath, in the quiet spaces of your mind. Have you felt agitated, sleepy, wired yet unmotivated? Maybe a little disoriented, like the ground beneath your routines has subtly shifted? Or perhaps a strange calm, a sense that something larger is holding you, even if you can't quite explain it. These sensations might not be random. They could be signs subtle indicators that you're tuning into the shift, even if you don't consciously realize it. The Earth is constantly communicating with us, not always in words, not always in ways that can be quantified, but through vibration, through synchronicity, through the way a dream lingers, or a thought repeats, or a sudden sense of peace finds you in the middle of chaos. This moment of silence is more than just a break in the data stream. It's an opportunity to remember how connected we truly are, to this planet, to each other, and to something far greater than ourselves. When we stop tracking the external signal, we start tuning in to the internal one. And what we find there can be far more profound than any chart could ever show. We are part of a collective consciousness, millions of human hearts beating across the globe, subtly influencing and responding to the energetic fields that envelop us all. When the Earth's pulse goes quiet, perhaps it's asking us to be still enough to hear our own, to reconnect with that ancient, intuitive intelligence that lives beneath the noise. Because in the end, silence isn't the absence of something. It's the presence of everything. It's the space where truth begins to emerge, not as data, but as knowing. And perhaps now, more than ever, we're being invited to sit with that knowing, to honor the still point, and to remember that the Earth speaks just as powerfully in silence as she does in sound. Whether this was a simple system crash or a profound energetic event, one thing is clear. We've all been handed a rare and potent moment, a pause, a breath in the middle of a world that rarely stops spinning. The graphs may have gone silent, but that silence, it speaks. And if we're willing to truly listen, it has so much to reveal. Because this isn't just about the Schumann resonance going offline. It's about what happens when the tools we rely on, the numbers, the charts, the data that give shape to the invisible, suddenly fall away. When the screen goes dark, we're left with the rawness of our own perception, our own intuition, our own ability to feel what cannot be tracked. And maybe that's the point. We live in a culture that constantly seeks validation through the external. We want the proof, the measurement, the certainty that says, yes, what you're sensing is real. But today, the Earth is teaching us a different kind of awareness. One that doesn't come from monitoring her waves, but from riding them. Not from calculating her frequencies, but from embodying them. Because the truth is, the most important resonances aren't found on a screen. They're found in your body, in your dreams, in the subtle flickers of emotion that rise and fall like tides. We often wait for a spike in the Schumann charts to feel justified in our fatigue, our surges of creativity, our sudden need to cry for no reason at all. But maybe we don't need the chart this time. Maybe, just maybe, we're being asked to turn the lens inward. So take a moment. Right now, just breathe. Slow everything down. Place your hand over your heart. Not metaphorically, literally. Close your eyes if you feel called. And ask yourself, what is shifting within me while the world goes quiet? What whispers are trying to reach me through this stillness? What am I feeling beneath the noise, beneath the thoughts? You see, in the absence of data, we're being invited to trust something far older than technology. The invisible, the intuitive, the sacred. We're being invited into the fertile unknown, that liminal space where transformation doesn't announce itself with fanfare, but arrives like a soft wind through an open window. The Earth hasn't stopped speaking. She's just changed the language from sound to silence, from graph to gut feeling. And the invitation is simple, but powerful. Go inward. Feel the shift, not as something happening out there, but as something waking up in here. The silence is not empty, it's full of guidance if we have the stillness to receive it. So as we step away from the charts, from the need to understand everything, let's carry this one truth with us. In the quiet, we begin to remember, not just who we are, but what we're becoming. And that remembering starts not in the mind, but in the soul.